Hello friends, this video on Laws of Motion Part 9 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos from Part 1 to Part 8 before going ahead with Part 9. Now that we have discussed Newton's first law, Newton's second law and Newton's third law of motion, let us now study conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum states that in an isolated system, the total momentum is conserved. What do I mean when I say isolated system? Isolated system is something where no external force is acting on the system. That is, the external force acting on the system is equal to 0. So in an isolated system, the total momentum of the system is conserved. Conserved in the sense that the total momentum, the value of total momentum remains constant. We will take up an example so that the idea becomes even more clearer. Let us take the example of a spinning top. If you look at a top, you see that it constantly keeps revolving around its tip, correct? So what do we see? That however, at every point of time, the momentum keeps changing in direction, but for every point, let us suppose we have a momentum at this point, this point, this point. At all the points you have a momentum. But what happens exactly is the momentum acts somewhat like this, but at the same time on the other end you have directions like this. So for every momentum you have an equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, another momentum. So they both cancel out. As a result, the net momentum when you calculate is found to be 0. So what do we see in this? Initially when the system was at rest, then the momentum was equal to 0. Even after it started spinning, the final momentum also, the net value of the final momentum also turns out to be 0. So we see that the initial momentum of the system and the final momentum of the system is equal. And that is what we see in the law of conservation of momentum. It says that before the total momentum of a system before any event and the total momentum of the system after the event remains the same. So that's what we observed in case of the spinning top. We'll take few more examples to get things clear. Let us take the example of a bullet fired from a rifle. If you see the first picture, you see the rifle is at rest. So this is our initial. This system will tell us the initial momentum of the system. Now the initial momentum of the system is equal to 0. Now in the later stage, what do we see? When the rifle is fired, that is when the trigger is moved somewhat in this direction, as you can see here, the bullet is fired in this direction, correct? So now what would be the final momentum of this system after the bullet is fired? What happened here was the trigger was pulled in this direction, that is in the negative x direction, and a bullet was fired in the positive x direction. So the bullet gained some momentum because the bullet had its own mass and it moved with some velocity, as you saw here. So the bullet had gained some momentum, but this momentum got cancelled by the rifle's momentum in the backward direction. So the bullet's momentum was in this direction and the rifle's momentum was in this direction. So the both being equal and opposite got cancelled. Therefore the total momentum even in this case turned out to be 0. Therefore we find that the momentum remains conserved. That is, before the firing and after the firing, the total momentum of the system is 0. Now let us take up the next example for conservation of momentum. Here we take the example of a rocket propulsion. Let us suppose this is the rocket. We say initially, now what is this initial time denoting? It is denoting the time when the rocket just starts moving. So let us suppose the mass of the rocket is m. Fine. Now let us suppose the velocity with which the rocket is moving is v. So what would be the initial momentum of the system? It will be mass into velocity, that is mv. Now what happens is as the rocket starts moving, the gases gets ejecting in the opposite direction. That is, the rocket moves in this direction and the gases are ejected in the opposite direction. Now, these gases which are ejected in the opposite direction gives a kind of forward push which helps the rocket to move upward because these are ejected in the downward direction. So, when we see the later situation, what happens? The mass of the rocket is now reduced by the mass of this ejected gases. Let us suppose the mass of the ejected gases is denoted by small m. That is, this much mass of the gases are ejected in downward direction. And let us suppose that the velocity of the gases in the downward direction is denoted by, say, v dash. So this is denoted by v dash and this is denoted by mass of the rocket was capital M initially, and now the mass of the gases ejected is small m. So what will happen now? The mass of the rocket will become capital M, which was initially the mass of the rocket, minus small m, because the gases were initially inside the rocket and now they are ejected. So the mass of the rocket is reduced by small m. Now what will be the velocity of the rocket now? The velocity of the rocket would be v, that is the initial velocity of the rocket, plus v dash, because the velocity of the gases are relative to the rocket in the opposite direction. Since both are v and v dash are in opposite direction, so they will add up, that is v plus v dash. So what do we find? The final momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So mass is m minus small m. Velocity is v plus v dash. Now what did we observe? We find that m gets reduced, mass is reduced, but at the same time velocity is increased. So this shows that momentum remains constant. Now initial momentum was mass into velocity. Final momentum was, in the final momentum the mass got reduced but the velocity got increased. So keeping the total value as constant. One quantity was reduced and the other quantity was increased. So the product remained the same. So we find that P final, that is the final momentum, is equal to the initial momentum. And that is how the law of conservation of momentum holds true for a rocket propulsion. I hope it is clear to you. Initially, the mass of the rocket was m, and since the rocket just started moving, the velocity of the rocket was v. So initial momentum was mv. Now, as the rocket kept moving, the gases were ejected in the opposite direction with a velocity relative to the velocity of the rocket. So what happened now? The mass of the rocket was reduced by small m because this is the mass of the gases which are ejected, and the velocity of the rocket increased due to the relative velocity of the gases which are ejected. As a result, we find that in momentum, the mass got reduced, but at the same time, the velocity got increased. So keeping the product of mass and velocity constant. So the initial momentum and the final momentum remained the same. Thus, it proves the conservation of the moment. We will now look at a very important application of conservation of moment, and that is collision between two bodies. It is a very important application of conservation of momentum. Let us suppose we have two bodies, 1 and 2, and these two bodies collide. So what is the event here? Collision is the event. So what we will do? We will try to prove that the initial momentum before collision is the same as the final momentum after collision. So we will calculate the total momentum of the system before collision. Then we will calculate the total momentum of the system after collision. Let us consider that initially. Initial means before collision. Let us suppose before collision, the momentum of body 1 was P1 and the momentum of body 2 was P2. And let us suppose that after collision, that is the final values after collision, the momentum of 1 is P1 dash and momentum of 2 is P2 dash. Now, by Newton's second law, we know that force is equal to rate of change of momentum, that is F is equal to dp by dt, or we can also write it as delta p by delta t. Now for the first body, that is for body 1, we can write that the force exerted on body 1 by body 2, because see, when we are considering two bodies, even before collision also, there will be some force exerted by 2 on 1, and as a result there will be some force exerted by 1 on 2. Right now we are considering only body 1. So the force exerted on 1 by 2, this will be equal to the rate of change of momentum per unit time. So this will be the change in momentum on body 1. So change in momentum will be final value of momentum minus initial value of momentum divided by delta t. Similarly, for body 2, the force acting on body 2 by body 1 will be equal to the change in momentum in body 2 per unit time, right? Also, by Newton's third law, we know that F12 is equal to minus F21. That means the force exerted on 1 by 2 is equal to negative of force exerted on 2 by 1, because the forces are equal and opposite in nature. So we can put the value of F12 and F21 in this equation. So we will get P1 dash minus P1 divided by delta T is equal to P2 dash minus P2 divided by delta T. So delta T will cancel out. So we get P1 dash minus P1 is equal to P2 dash minus P2. So from here we can write P1 dash minus P2 dash is equal to P1 minus P2. I'm sorry, I missed out the minus sign over here. There was a minus sign here, as we said minus F of 21. So this would be minus and this would be plus. So we get P1 dash plus P2 dash is equal to P1 plus P2. So what does this show? P1 plus P2 is the total initial momentum of the system. P1 plus P2 is the total initial momentum. And P1 dash plus P2 dash is the total final momentum of the system. So we have proved that the total initial momentum is equal to the total final momentum. That is, the momentum is conserved in case of a collision. So what did we see here? We considered two systems. Now the two systems together will constitute the system. When I use the word system here, I mean to say the system including both the particles 1 and 2. Now let us suppose before they collide, the initial momentum was P1 and P2 for both of them. After they collide, the momentum was P1 dash and P2 dash. Now by Newton's second law, we knew F is equal to dp by dt, that is change in momentum with time. So for body 1, the force exerted on 1 by 2 is equal to the change in momentum of 1 divided by delta t. Similarly for body 2, now we know that Newton's third law says F12 is equal to minus F21. So what we did is we just replaced the value of F12 and F21 with these values. And we got P1 dash plus P2 dash is equal to P1 plus P2. That is, the total final momentum is equal to the total initial momentum of the system. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.